Hey everyone, the Kingmaker here with Defy Reality. I've been promising this YouTube video for a while. I'm going to tell you guys a story of how I defied reality. And this story is going to actually give you a sneak peek into my group coaching mastermind that I have. And it's going to give you guys an opportunity, especially those who are considering the Mindset Alchemy Immersion. It's going to give you the opportunity to see what this process actually looks like, okay? And so I'm going to switch over to the video for you to see, and then when that's done, I'm going to tell you how the story actually ended, because there was more that happened after that video. So stay tuned. Did I tell you a story about what happened when I went to the restaurant? And I thought that and I had to wait. Okay, then I'm gonna tell you the story because this is relevant to this.
I'm going to turn off my camera.
So y'all may not know this about me, but waiting isn't a thing I do. Patience isn't. Caitlin's a Virgo too, right? You know all about not having patience. So I had a reservation, and I made the reservation late, but I still had a reservation. It was like the children went to my mom's and I had some available time. And I noticed there was this one particular place and it was called something Piano Bar. And I love live music. So I was like, oh, let me go there. So I go there and I'm standing up front waiting to be seated. And so I waited a little bit for somebody to notice I was up there. And then when they came up, they were like, oh, okay, well, so-and-so is going to seat you. So I waited and waited and waited and waited. And the person came up and they asked me a question, and then they went about their business. And at the time I was thinking, first of all, I don't wait. So this is already not going my way. But number two, I'm going, I have a reservation. I should be I had a very clear idea of how I wanted to be treated, but that wasn't what was happening. So I kept saying to myself, I always get the most amazing service this entire time while somebody's literally in front of me doing the opposite of giving me the best possible service. I always get the best possible service. People always show me the most possible respect. Whatever the list of things was that was the opposite of what I was experiencing was what I was saying to myself over and over again. So I'm like, so I started it from the moment that I recognized that I was having to wait. I was like, I never have to wait when I go places. I'm always seated, in a timely manner. I always get the best possible service. So I'm like saying this to myself over and over again. I watched another party. Now, mind you, while I'm saying this to myself, I walked a party. I noticed a party of 4 or 5 people come in. They got seated right away. I'm still standing there. Now, as a person of color in a not Black-owned establishment, the thought did cross my mind that the reason I was not being seated was because I'm a young Black woman and I'm by myself. And this group of white people came in, they got seated. But I was like, nope. Even if that was a thing that had any effect on what other people do, it doesn't matter. That doesn't have to be my reality. Even if that's somebody else's reality. Even if the person who is standing behind the counter and not seating me is doing it for that reason, that will not apply to me. I get the best possible service all the time. So I kept repeating myself. So then finally, the older gentleman comes by and sits me down. And then he proceeds to personally serve me. Come to find out, he's the owner. So the owner, I said, I get the best possible service. And even though I waited for it, when everybody else was being served by the servers, I was being served by the owner. He recommended the perfect wine for me. He recommended the perfect meal for me. And then when I was done eating, because there was no room on the other side, because this was like at 9:30 p.m. By the time I my reservations were 9:30, he said, "Hey, do you want to come over to the other side and see the live music?" So he was like, "Hey, we'll move everything over there for you." So he takes me and sits me at the bar. He was like, "There's no seats at the there's no tables over here available, but I can sit you at the bar." And he sat me next to two of the people who were actually performing. And while I'm sitting there, not only did I had a great view of the bar, one of the performers who had greeted me when I first walked in told me, "Hey, if you come on Mondays, your meal's free. Every other Monday, when I'm here, your meal is free." And I was like, wow, thank you. Then not only in the show was amazing, like the live music was phenomenal. And then the next time I went there, I ended up having a meeting. I chose to have it there because the woman who was performing was really good and I didn't want to miss her again. So I had set a reservation like a week. I set a reservation while I was sitting at the counter at the bar for the next week so I could see this woman. And I was supposed to take Jeremy, but he had COVID, so, or he couldn't taste or something at the time, so I couldn't take him. And when I walked in, the owner gave me dap. This is a 75-year-old white Italian man. Gave me dap. He comes and sits me at the perfect place. Everyone was like, literally, not only, now I was dressed immaculately, but so the bartender who's actually performs, and she was really good too. Everybody was like, "Hey, oh my God, we're so happy you're back." Like I got the warmest welcome. Every woman who was either in there or leaving stopped to tell me how fabulous I looked. As I walked out the door, I stood up to walk out the door and the bartender screams across "Oh my God, can I please have the suit you're wearing? Like, we can't wait to see you again." The performer got up and gave me a hug. What did you learn from that? Someone tell me what you learned from that story. And how can you apply it to what you deal with every day?
You can't set yourself up in those vibrational frequencies that don't match with you. If that's not what you believe in, then shut that crap down. Like whatever you set forth is what you're going to accomplish, no matter what it looks like. In other words, you didn't change your mind about you having a good experience and you're going to get the great service. You didn't change your mind just because of the situation and scenarios around you. You stuck with the same exact clear intention that I'm going to have the best service. I'm going to have to not wait. You don't wait, but patience is a virtue. Time is an illusion. All them other different things. But you set the clear intention that ultimately I'm going out to have a great night. And I think you got a little bit more than a great night. You had a tremendous night. And not just one night, you have future nights that are already taken care of. So yeah, don't put yourself in that vibrational frequency of what our parents were, of the, "Oh, I'm black," or "Oh, I'm white," or "Oh, I'm Asian," or "Oh, I'm this and I can't go here and they don't like that." Man, I'm a king or I'm a queen, or in your case situation, I'm a queen. So all races and all nations, they look at me and acknowledge who I am. It doesn't matter if I was green. Everybody's supposed to look at me when I walk into a room and acknowledge the king. And that's the frequency that you are on, and still going to continue to carry on to these free meals that we're going to have. And I don't speak French, but "we" is a very powerful word, so I'll attach myself to those free Monday meals.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy. Anybody else before I comment?
This is Tamika, by the way. With what you said, I got that, just like what Mr. Jeremy said, you didn't change your mindset of how you was going to have a good day. And you stuck, and I have that issue too, because as soon as something, it could be 1% bad, and I'm just like, not where I want to be, and I automatically change my view, my mind. instead of saying, you know what, nope, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to be good. They're going to have to conform to me now. And that's what I got from your story, because, you know, each thing you said was even greater than the last. Each day, the second day was better than the last. And I have to really get into that, because my mind can change. I could be having a good day and I might drop a fork at work, and then I'm just like, you know what? I ain't supposed to be here. You know, this is not where I'm supposed to be. The whole fork is a fork. Why are you mad at a fork, Tamika? Why? But I have to really, really start just keeping it as, you know, it's just a fork. The store didn't burn down. It's just a fork. So I do have to do that personally in my business and in every aspect of my life, because it could really change. Your mindset can really change. That Kool-Aid is strong. I don't like that Kool-Aid. It's tart. I do not like that Kool-Aid. But yeah, I have to change all of that. I appreciate that story. I really do.
Very happy to hear that. It's so funny. We have our own like vernacular now that we use, that when you use it in front of anybody else, they'd be like, what are you even talking about? But it's like, everybody else know what I'm talking about. You don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They know what I mean when I talk about STDs. No. Okay. So in reference to the first part, I'll be quite honest. I think that the reason that I waited, Jeremy, was because I didn't set intentions before I got there. I didn't set intent. I just was like, hey, I have an open evening. Let me go to this place. Like I didn't go, oh, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna have I didn't actually start setting intentions until I was there and not having the experience I wanted. So I honestly believe that the little small negative part that I experienced was simply a result of me. And then when I got in there and realized I had to wait, then I started drinking the Kool-Aid. And then once I realized I was drinking the Kool-Aid, I was like, course correct. Nope, this is not how this works over here. I'm going to have the most amazing experience. And even though I was confronted with something that could have easily been viewed as the opposite of what I was saying to myself, I didn't leave. I just continued to reaffirm my belief that I get to have this experience. I'm the motherfucking kingmaker. When I walk into a place, there is no chance that I have anything other than the best possible experience and the best possible service. If they don't know who I am now, they will know. Like that's the energy. But I didn't walk in with that energy. I walked in with slightly being distracted, didn't set intentions, all this stuff. And then the first thing that happened, I did a Tamika, the fork drop, and I'm like, see, don't even want to see Black people. Like, and then I was like, what are you even doing? That is so ridiculous. Even, and I'm not saying stuff like that doesn't exist. That would be inaccurate of me to say that. But the thing is, Bria, okay. But the thing is, you do not have to be subject to that. And so Amaris, you're still on here. Tamika's on here. Miss Flo is on here. Quab, okay. Bria, you can still hear me. This is relevant to this. Go check out the video. This is a 25-minute video. It's probably one of the longest ones on there. And it's called The Privilege of Oppression. The Privilege of Oppression. And it specifically deals with the victim mentality. So the mentality that I started to exude when I was standing there dealing with what I thought was, which really was nothing other than the universe giving me back what I was putting out or my lack of intentions. Instead of me choosing to be a victim and be the Black woman who didn't get what she, whatever, I chose to be the architect of my own reality. And I told the universe, I told which mountains to bow down to me. Are you following? So that's what the privilege of oppression is about. It talks about a subject that is very sensitive to a lot of people right now, but it gives you an alternative perspective to being a victim. We choose victimhood because it's a cop-out. It is a cop-out. You are in control of your destiny and your life and your experiences, no one else. Anything that someone else does as it pertains to you, either it was new contrast for you to identify, oh, I don't like this, and adjust, or you've got some kind of recycled shit in your vibration you need to get rid of. You have some kind of belief that's not serving you. They are still going to be the person they're going to be, but you do not have to be on the other end of that gun, of that knee, of those handcuffs. That is your choice. So I'm very passionate about this idea because one of the pillars of what I am here as the Kingmaker to do is to empower people. There is no room for victimhood in that. So I have to change the way that you think about it. And what I experienced in that moment was an opportunity for me to choose to be a creator or a victim. And when I chose to be a creator, the entire world bended in front of me and surprised me and gave me more than I could have come up with on my own. But that's how it works. So the big thing that I wanted you to get from that, outside of what I just said, is even when you're making calls and nobody's answering the phone, guess what? Everybody's answering the phone when I call. Isn't it awesome? Just because you set an appointment and somebody didn't show, remember, that's just the past representing itself right now. The people who didn't show to the appointment, that's your old shit. Change it. Take this moment to set new intentions. That's the other video, is your past is present. YouTube video. That's one of the three that was, so I dropped passion and purpose, your past is present, and the privilege of oppression. Those are the three videos I dropped in the last week. Welcome back. Now that you have heard the story, let me tell you what happened next. So as you could see, Jeremy at the end, like, attached himself to the free meals, right? So that was on a Thursday. Literally the next day, the owner of the piano bar called me and said, hey, I've got these two tickets to see the performer that I really wanted to see. She's not there all the time. She's only there like in a quarter. And when I was there the time before, there were no even available seats for that event. So he had told me that he was going to put me on the waiting list. So he calls me and says he knew exactly who I was. We started talking about why I hadn't been there. And I told him I was moving. And then he asked me some questions about it. And then he was like, you have 3 children? And it turned into a whole thing. So we chop it up. He gives me these 2 free tickets, or these 2 seats to this event. Now, it just turned out that it was also Jeremy's birthday weekend, so it worked out perfectly. Like, he definitely was cooperative in making this happen, with him claiming it on the call. But anyway, this is where it gets really cool. So the time for the event was like 7:00. I got there late. I was like at 7:05. The place was already packed, okay? And when I walk in, it was just me by myself. Jeremy hadn't arrived yet. He seats me in this large round booth. Now, mind you, there's 2 of us. This booth seats probably 6 people. And the rest of the restaurant is already packed, okay? And it was clear that these seats had been waiting for me. Now, to show you, or to tell you, to describe the way that the restaurant is set up and everything, the majority of the people who are sitting in there's back has to be to the performer because of the way that the setup is. And where we were seated, nobody's back had to be to the performance. It was one of the most comfortable seats, so much so there was, and we might have been the only Black people there too. I think there might have been like one other Black lady that was in there. And so there was an older couple, white couples, like 2 men and 2 women, maybe 60s, maybe even 70s, sitting to the right of us. And when I sat down, so the owner came and seated me. And when I sat down, the lady goes, are you an entertainer? And I was like, no. And she said, I only asked because you got the most preferred seating in the house. I was like, yeah. Because I did notice as soon as he pointed where I was to sit, I was like, you always treat me like amazingly. And he gave me a hug and everything. And then I said, well, let's just say that she was like, do you know him? And I was like, well, yeah. And then she goes, I said, let's just say I left an impression the first time we met. And she was like, I heard that. But mind you, their party, the entire performance, like 2 of them are facing the opposite direction of the performance. So then the owner comes back, takes my drink order. Everybody else is being served by the waiters, takes my drink order, my food order, serves us our food when Jeremy gets there personally. And then while the performer that I love, her name is Barbara, she, just quick like sidebar. So this particular location, Whitney Houston used to perform there. So this is like incredible. And her mother, Barbara, the lady who performs, her mother was like the very first artist that Sam Cooke produced on his label. And so she's singing, and then like in the crowd, and I just like wave at her, and so she's in the middle of her song, stops to say my name. She go, hey, Lota. And I was like, and it was so funny. Jeremy was looking at me like, what kind of sorcery is this? And I'm like, it's creating magic. So anyway, I want to show you guys how I defied reality, and it keeps getting better. We reversed 400 years of slavery in this moment. There are the people that we would normally associate and think get the preferential treatment are looking at me going, why are you getting the preferential treatment? Why do you get to sit at the front of the bus? Why are you getting this booth only? Anything that we want is available to us if we can get out of our own way, if we are not the ones standing in the way of the thing that we want by convincing ourselves and continue to tell a story that no longer serves us. So defy reality. Sending light, love, and gratitude always, the Kingmaker.